Recording? Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Hacks and Hobbies. And today I'm thrilled to introduce you to a guest who's a master at blending content creation and technology into systems that save you time. Joe Casabona. Joe is a podcast systems coach who helps busy solopreneurs take back their time by streaming their processes. With over a decade of experience in podcasting, more than 17 years of teaching, and over 24 years as a web developer, Joe brings a wealth of knowledge to the table. And if you're a fan of coffee, he's the guy who likens his strategies to brewing the perfect cup. Joe, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Joe, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Before we dive into your strategies, can you share just a bit about how you started blending content creation and technology?
Yeah, thanks for that great intro. Made me realize I feel old. But I think I realized my maybe unique perspective in grad school. I was talking to my advisor on my master's thesis, Dr. Bishop, and I was kind of pointing out that I didn't feel I was as good as some of the other students in the program. And he said, and these are his exact words, but you're good at schmoozing, which is very valuable. Um, and like what he meant was that I was by far the most personable person in the program. And
Mm,
I will take that split anytime. I would much rather be a mediocre programmer uh if it meant I was a really good people person because now several years on, I'm no longer in the web development field.
hmm
I'm still helping people with systems and technology, but I am much more a camera facing, crowd facing person. And so it was a unique skill I had to be able to take the technology and communicate it to people who may not be familiar or as familiar with technology as I am.
You know, you said something really profound there. Being able to speak the language or smooching the people, which is it goes to show that you have a really high EQ. The emotional uh, the emotional quotient, as people have been saying, the emotional content of our conversation, because it makes people feel very comfortable to talk to you, very comfortable to, bring questions on. They're like, oh, Joe can answer that question. Let's bring it on.
Yeah, it's funny because Junaid, I sent a message to our group last week. I also sent it to a couple of people outside of our group, and one person straight up said that. They're like, my difference factor was the terms we used there was uh I actively listen and I make people feel respected and comfortable.
Yeah,
And it was for a long time, I didn't feel I was doing something special, right? I'm just like, yeah, it's just the way I am. But
that's
then
who you
I,
are.
I
Yeah.
came to learn that not not everyone is like that.
I wonder how that came to be, because as you are, into technology and content creation, and what was the inspirational factor that says, hey, I want to be somebody who's helping solopreneurs with podcast systems? Was it something that you were solving for yourself, or was it somebody else that came to you and like, hey, I'm trying to do this. How do I do it better? Like, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, great question. It's definitely a problem I was solving for myself first. I if talking to people and being empathetic is my strength, market research is my weakness. I'm very much like I'm doing this for me, so I think people will find it valuable. And
Yeah.
during the pandemic, I have three children.
hmm
During the pandemic, my wife was working a lot. She's a nurse. I had a 3-year old and then a baby at home, and I wasn't working and I wasn't producing my podcast, which
hmm
I still earn half of our income, and we still really needed it. And one day I had a panic attack. It was in November. I'm sitting
Mm,
on the floor of my kitchen, crying. And my 3-year-old comes up to me and she gives me a bottle of water and a towel. And she says, "It's okay, Daddy. It's going to be okay." And I thought, well, she must have a high EQ as well.
mm-hmm.
She's like my clone, so she must. But I thought this is not okay. My daughter shouldn't be taking care of me. And so
Mm,
the next time I worked, whenever that was within the next few days, I started looking for a VA and I started putting systems in place. Um, and I, eliminated a lot of the work I was doing. And then about a year later, our youngest was born, and I took off an entire month.
mm,
And so the systems worked, right? I didn't know it was valuable to other people until like
yeah.
2 years later, when someone during a webinar was like, "How do you run 3 podcasts and have 3 kids? I'm overwhelmed and I have one of each." And I'm like,
Oh.
"Oh."
That's definitely the way to go, and most people don't realize that, right? You like, hey, it's solving my problem, it's making my life easier. I'm able to do more with my time, and you certainly have to put those systems in place. And I'm glad that you are able to, you know, make that realization and say, hey, something's got to give, something's got to change. And I came into a similar situation where I was spending so much time editing my own podcast episodes that I got myself fired from my full-time job, right?
Oh
And it
no. Oh no.
oh no, right? I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
people told me that you should get a editor for your podcast. You shouldn't be editing it yourself." I was like, "What? I know technology. I'm a tech geek. I know this inside and out." But what I didn't realize is how much time it takes of us to do such a small, not a small task. I mean, a big task. But again, in the in the entire universe of things, it's just one piece of the puzzle that you can hand off to somebody else and let them be an expert on that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this is what I try to I mean, most of the business advice out there is not for parents, right? It's like hustle and work late and then work on your side hustle when
Yeah.
you're at home after work. And like work weekends, right? Like Alex
Yeah.
Hormozy was like, you have 109 days every year
Uh
to
huh.
work. It's called the weekend. And I'm like, yeah, all of this has the asterisks of if you don't have kids.
Yes.
And so this was another reason I felt like the the niche that I found, busy solopreneur parents, is valuable because
Yeah.
no one's talking to us. It's hard to talk to us, right?
Yes.
It's like if I can't tell you to just work until you solve the problem, like if you have a hard stop at 3 to get your kids, I don't know what to tell you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
There's nothing else to tell you. Yeah. And then you
Yeah,
can't
right. Yeah,
really.
it's like, well,
And
mm,
the other thing is, right? Are are these parents going to show up to my webinar because they're so busy? That's another question
yeah.
we might ask. So we're looking at this content. We're watching these videos in the middle of the night. Like after all the kids are sleeping, okay, now I can sit back and watch some reels, watch some videos, and take some notes. And probably it's usually at that time of the night when my wife is forwarding me all these reels, right? I'm like, hey, go
Hmm.
check this out. I'm like, okay, I see you. But as you built these podcasting systems, the power, um, time is one of our most valuable assets, and those 109 days that some people have for free, we don't, because we have kids birthdays parties, we have kids events, we have to take them swimming, we have to make sure that their clothes are washed, make sure the house is clean.
Hmm.
Like there's so many things that people or couples do who don't have kids, don't think about that. And so explain to me why and how that system, can dramatically increase productivity and reduce stress. Like, how did it help you when you put it in place the first time around?
Yeah, so let me tell 2 stories real quick that lead into this.
Go ahead.
One is that you don't like I've been a parent now for almost 8 years. And I didn't realize the time deficit I had until my kids recently slept over my father-in-law's house and he
Mm-hmm.
kept them for the entire day. I did what would have taken me a full weekend and I kid you not, 4 hours. And like I was able to watch the Yankee doubleheader that day
Mm-hmm.
just without guilt. I folded laundry, right? Because that's the only really house chore that is time dependent on some other machine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it was wild. I didn't realize it. On the other end, my son's birthday was in July,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a Friday. I was expecting to work, and he decided that he wanted to go to the zoo. And so I was intending to work, but I decided to go to the zoo instead.
Yeah.
And if you are a solopreneur who feels like they're so busy, you may not make that decision. You might say, "Sorry, buddy, I got to work." But
Yeah.
the stick by which I measure my success is, can I knock off from work to spend time with my kids? And so I wouldn't be able to do that without the systems in place. And so
Yeah.
you asked, how do these systems save me time? There are a lot of little things that you don't realize you need to do in your business, right? Follow up with that person, book a new guest, update a status in a Trello or a Notion template, email your editor to let them know a new episode is ready to go, email your VA or upload the episode yourself, most likely. And these things don't feel like they take a lot of time, but when they interrupt your main work, the
Mm-hmm.
context switching is incredible, right?
Oh my
When
God.
I worked at the University of Scranton, nothing messed me up more than a coworker knocking on my door and saying, "Hey, I just sent you an email." I'm like, "Great. I was going to read the email when I wasn't doing deep work." And now it's just pop, all gone, right? So the systems I put in place let you easily book guests and then automatically add them to a Notion document. And
Mm-hmm.
when files are added to Dropbox, Notion gets updated and my editor gets emailed. And I don't, the only thing I ever do in that Notion document really now is look at it to make sure, all right, do I have 4 episodes in the tank?
Yeah.
And if not, let's fix that because I always want to be at least a month ahead.
Yeah.
And so without that context switching, I can focus on writing and growing my newsletter, working on my next VIP day, creating my next course. And those are the things that or reach out to sponsors because my show
Sure.
is sponsored. And those are the things that bring in the money.
Man, that is really powerful because those are tiny things, and you're absolutely right. And anytime you switch a context in your brain, it takes you about 23 to 28 minutes to get back to what you're working on, and that's a lot of lost
Mm-hmm.
time. And I don't mind my kids coming into when I'm recording a podcast, but when I'm listening and actively listening to the guests, and somebody comes in, pop, I'm like, wait, what what were we talking about again? Can you go back? Like it's very annoying, and it's something that
Yeah.
we have to live with. But over time, you get better at it, right? You get better at that.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And like, I
I'll
mean, again, when you have kids and you're used to being interrupted, like maybe you can context switch a little faster because you won't survive if you don't. But again,
yeah,
like with kids, context switching is different. But you
absolutely.
can also, I put a system in place for that too. I have a smart light at the top of my office door, and as soon as Ecamm Live opens,
Mm-hmm.
that light turns red, right?
Nice,
Or
nice.
as soon as I open Riverside.com, that light turns red because I told my computer if those things are open, I'm recording something.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love how you put these systems together because I have some systems in place, but I need more automation. I need more of these systems in place so that I'm not going to Zoom to download my stuff, or I'm not going to my drive and renaming these folder files and then updating the Excel sheet and then pushing it up to Google it out. Like those are things that could definitely be automated, and I think I need to implement that system. Now, one thing
Yeah,
that yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, I love it, man. So, one thing that you've done really well is blending that content creation and technology. Because you have these systems in place, you've given yourself more time to be able to create the content, to be able to do those live streams on YouTube, to be able to, answer people's questions because I'm always looking to do that. How can I serve others? How can I create content? I mean, I have, you're not going to believe this, but I have at least 50 scripts just waiting for me to record content around. Okay. And every single day, I'm like, oh my God, I have this new idea. Let me put this together. And, now that script is waiting. But I am so over taxing my time with not just the day job that I have to teach students podcasting, but the other podcast interviews that I'm doing or other calls that I have on the calendar. And I think I need to stop all that. Like earlier that we were in the call, I was like, I need to slow everything down and put systems and pieces together that I can then market towards and actually, go out and do some more productive work. Talk to me about what's this unique approach that you have of merging content creation and technology?
Yeah, so I think it's really um I so I have my master's in software engineering, but I never took calculus,
Hmm.
which if you're familiar with academia, that sounds like an insane thing to say. But the way I did it was there was a major at the University of Scranton called Media and Information Technology, and it had 30 free credits, so you had to take a minor. So I majored in media info tech. I minored in computer info systems, which means I could take all the computer science classes
Hmm.
without any of the really hard math sciences. And those computer science classes filled the requirement for the grad program. My brother's friends are engineers, and they were floored by that I was able to work the system. And this is generally my approach to everything. I
Yeah.
always think, how can I make my life easier? I have a stream deck with Ecamm Live like you do because I hate editing video, and I
Hmm.
don't think what I'm doing warrants hiring a video editor most of the time, right?
Sure.
I'm very good, I believe, and I've gotten feedback to make me believe that I'm very good speaking off the cuff about things I know really well.
Hmm.
And so I usually don't script. Now that I have the Elgato prompter, I do script more because it's like the only useful teleprompter I've ever owned.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like the only good one I've ever had
Yeah.
that works for me. But uh, so using things like that to make it so that I can create content, you do minimal edits
Yeah.
and ship it allows me to make videos quickly. And that's not the only tool I use. I'll use Tella if I'm just doing like a quick demo because
Hmm.
Tella is I tell people Tella is basically what Loom would be if it was built today, right? It's
Hmm.
a really good, robust tool for screen sharing and demos, and you can set up layouts like this one that you
Sure.
have here, and it's just a really impressive thing. I get Loom for free because my higher ed email still works,
Hmm.
but I'm paying for Tella because it's that much better. So
Nice.
little things like that are really where the money is. And if I am ever connecting to apps, I try to automate it, right? So like one of
Yeah.
the things I tell people is when I'm trying to capture ideas, because again, as you know, with kids, it's easy, it's going to be easy to forget stuff. Um, I want to be able to like shout into the void and
Hmm.
log an idea. And so I use an app called Whisper Memo, which is a AI transcriber. It's really good.
Hmm.
But it works with the action button on my
Nice.
watch. It has a really good shortcut. So I will usually just like word vomit into that, and then I have it sent to my email address, and I have a Zapier watching it to automatically send it to my ideas base in Notion.
Nice.
So then when I'm staring at a blank space, I just go to the content ideas Notion database and I'm like, oh, this one feels good for me today, right? I'm
Yeah.
ready to talk about this one. So I'm very rarely staring at a blank screen when I'm ready to create content.
Yeah.
And as I'm creating the content, I'm doing some of the things that I would otherwise have to edit. And if I had to edit or hire an editor, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Man, those are some really powerful blending of content creation and technology, as well as you've already shared some common tools or apps that other people can also use without sacrificing quality and save time. I love that. Now, one thing that a lot of solopreneurs uh, face challenges around, um, how do I put it? Is that they feel overwhelmed with wearing multiple hats. Now, lucky for you, you have a really powerful hat. But what are some actionable steps that they can take to implement systems that can give them back some of their times besides the ones that you mentioned?
This is a great question, right? Use whatever anecdote you want. Rome wasn't built in a day. We fall down so we can get back up, right?
Yeah.
My daughter, my 7-year-old, is learning cello. And,
Hmm.
the first week she was like, I don't know if I like this. And I'm like, just stick with it. And now she loves it, right? She can play Mary Had a Little Lamb drums. So any stringed instrument is very confusing to me. Like I can't move my fingers the way you're supposed to be able to play a stringed instrument. So I would say start small. I have a method called the PER method, and the P stands for perform. So as you do a task, write down everything you do for that task. This is, I guess, I'm realizing now,
Hmm.
literally at this moment, that this is derived from the agile software development method, where it's like it's software development used to be like, okay, you just take it in big chunks and then every few months you surface, and software development projects had like a 90% failure rate in
Yeah.
1994 because of this.
Yeah.
And then the agile method is break every major task into a bunch of minor tasks and perform them, and then you have week-long sprints so that you get feedback faster.
Yeah.
In this regard, though, it's you're taking a task and you're writing everything you do uh, down, right? And so you're building an SOP or a standard operating procedure for that task. Then you take all of those SOPs, you evaluate them, and you say, is this something I need to do? If it's
Hmm.
not something I need to do, can I just eliminate it completely, right? Because we all do more than we need to because we don't know what we need to do in the beginning.
Yeah.
So if it's something that you determine needs to be done, then you ask yourself, do I personally need to do it? And here's where the secret sauce comes in, because the answer is no most of the time, right? In baseball, they always say when a batter strikes out, he's trying to do too much, right?
Hmm.
He's trying to hit the ball out of the park, and he's really more of like a slap hitter. Um, you need to do what you are best at and let either people through delegation or robots through automation do the rest. So as you're evaluating, the way to figure out if it needs to be a person or a robot is you ask, are the inputs clear? Am I taking the same information every time?
Yeah.
So if we do like a scheduling, if we do scheduling a guest, for example, I need their name, I need their email address, and I need a time, right? A
Yep.
date and a time. Inputs are always going to be the same.
Yes.
Then you ask, is the output always the same or is the outcome always the same? With scheduling, the outcome is a calendar invite, always the same.
Yep.
So you can automate that to a robot. If it's like, I need to edit my podcast episode, no, that's the inputs and outputs are not necessarily as clear. The inputs are, right? You're going to get two files.
Hmm.
You're going to line them up and make sure that there's no, audio drag. But then, each one it's not always going to be edit at 1 minute and 30 seconds,
Right.
cut the silence. It's not going to be that. So a person probably needs to do that. There's a little bit of finesse there. right?
Yeah.
Maybe AI tools will get better at that, where it can
I
detect
mean,
like,
there
oh,
are
I
some
said,
cool tools. For example, we talked about Descript on previous conversations. There's Autopod, which actually just came out with a beta uh, versions for DaVinci Resolve. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that out.
yeah. And I mean, like, there is like, I'm not a fan of removing like every filler word because I feel
Sure.
like it sounds unnatural, but
Mm-hmm.
recut in video removes long silences, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably get to a place very soon where Descript, if they stop working on like the eye replacement AI, um, like talk about a thing that didn't need to happen. Um, Maybe they can detect when you say basically the same sentence twice in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they realize that you did two takes and maybe that's probably I would if I worked at Descript, that would
Yeah.
be coming down the line, right? Um, but there's also like the human touch, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, they started talking about this thing that didn't really fit, or it was a tangent, so let's edit that out. So that's evaluate and then remove it from your plate. Either give it to a VA or a contractor or create an automation in Zapier or Make.
I love it. I love that so much because what I'm getting at is you've gotta spend time in understanding all the things that you're already doing and then figuring out, okay, what matches, what doesn't match, where are the variables, how can I replace these variables with automation, or how can I hand it off to somebody else that doesn't take my time away. But again, they have some kind of training or they have some kind of direction where they can take it to a place where I would approve it and like, okay, perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. I love that.
Yeah, and I should say, like, this is not necessarily expert work, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, editors are experts. Don't get me wrong. I would be completely lost without my editor. And like, I don't even listen to the work he sends back anymore. I've been working with him for like 6 or 7 years at this point.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like he knows, right? But this is not there are some things where you have a lot of unknowns, right? I just
Mm-hmm.
hired a branding expert to help me with my brand because I feel like I'm all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not a logo designer. That's included in what she does, but
Sure.
we've been working together for 4 weeks and I haven't seen a logo yet because she's
Mm-hmm.
just been asking me these really thoughtful questions about, hey, who do you want to help? And so
Yeah.
like those things like you still need to hire an expert for, but if there's a process you're doing that's outside of your area of expertise or it's just like grunt work, um
Mm-hmm.
that's the stuff that you can automate and delegate, right? My
Yeah.
VA who is in the Philippines just started doing guest research for me. And this is a big thing because I wasn't sure if this was a task that was within her purview, right? This
Sure.
was like the output is a little bit unclear.
Mm-hmm.
And the input is a little bit unclear because it's going to be different for everybody. But this first run looks really promising.
Yeah.
And so if I can select the guests, but then she does the research, that's going to save me even more time, right? And
Yeah.
that's something that like maybe AI can do for you as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I kind of use AI for that, but I've already
Me
know
too. Yeah.
who I'm talking to, right? So now, based on the structure of how you lay out your podcast episode, it kind of knows what kind of output you're looking for, but then also the type of conversation that you want to have. So pulling those specific questions into view. But again, being a host for so many years, you also don't have to follow that script either, right? Because that's the power of our brains. Like we can have these conversations as the conversation flows. Now,
Right.
something,
Maybe something happened to you today that you then wanted to bring to this interview, right? This is what I
yeah,
was saying. I had a debate with my friend Alistair
yeah,
because I said saying you used AI to write your book is like saying you used a car to run a marathon. That's cheating, right? And he was like, he's like, no, I trained the AI and I iterated and it read
yeah,
and like he's like, what if it read everything I've written over the last 10 years on the internet and it knows how I write. And I'm like, it's still not going to have your life experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to know what happened to you today or tomorrow. It's not
Exactly.
going to know the things you didn't write about.
No.
That's like and that's the secret sauce of creating great content.
Yeah.
If you're just looking for information, fine.
Everybody's.
Become a content farm, but no one's
Yeah.
going to care about that.
Yeah. I love that. Now, you and I, we've been creating content for some time, and you've got a pretty amazing following. If you could share one upgrade or improvement for podcasters or solopreneurs in their workspace or studio that would increase their productivity, and you mentioned one thing earlier when we were talking, right? It informs the people in the house, like, hey, this is a red room. We are working here. So what would it be, and how would it affect their workflow?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I mean, it would be that or the Stream Deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it really helps you, because the constraint is with their home or studio, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I'll lean into the red light, right? I overthought this for a long time. I'm like, I need to get an on-air light, and it needs to whatever, whatever. I got a Philips Hue multicolor light bulb,
Hmm.
and I got a sconce that you can just screw into drywall,
Yeah.
and that's it, right? And it sits next to my refrigerator right outside my office door, and my family knows when it turns red that I'm recording. And you can do that with a shortcut on your iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that with a button on your Stream Deck,
Yeah.
or, Ecamm Live or Keyboard Maestro. These are apps on your computer that are basically like, if something happened, do this thing. And so Keyboard Maestro is saying like, hey, when now now Riverside has an app, which is amazing. So like, when the Riverside app opens,
Mm-hmm.
run the I'm recording shortcut and turn the red light on and set my
Yeah.
office lighting just right. I have lighting here, and I want it to be bright when I'm working, but I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be, I don't want to look washed out when I'm
Yeah.
recording, right? And so,
Yeah.
um, that if you don't have to remember to do that
Oh my
right
God.
before you record, you can focus on doing the content.
Oh my God. Such a game changer. Like anytime I'm coming in, I'm like, um, hey Siri, studio time. Like, oh, it runs a shortcut, turns the lights on, turns off the overhead lights. You know, make. I need to get a red light now.
Mm.
I just put it in front of
Yeah,
my door. Yeah.
I super overthought it. I'm like, how am
Yeah.
I going to do this? And I'm like, I'm dumb.
Just a Philips Hue.
um, yeah, right.
Simple.
And you know what? Like, you have a Stream Deck, at least one, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Stream Deck can execute shortcuts, right?
Yes,
So if you
it
have
does. Yeah.
a shortcut, yeah,
Yeah.
you can just press, well, Stream Deck also has a Philips Hue integration. So
Right. Yeah. So, anyways,
yeah.
combining all of those things that are gonna really elevate. Now, you've been in your studio space. When was it? When did the realization came that, hey, I need to have a dedicated space where, when I'm recording content for my podcast, or when I'm recording content for my YouTube videos, or when I'm teaching or training, when did that realization come to you?
It was while I was on paternity leave with my oldest.
Hmm.
I was recording a development course, and newborns don't care about what's going on in your life.
No, they
And
don't.
the only way they can communicate is by crying. And so I'd be recording. Now I was using a Blue Yeti, which, say what you will about Blue Yeti, but they are very sensitive to the
Mm-hmm.
environment.
Yep.
And so I got a giant comforter and I put it over my entire computer. And I thought, this is less than ideal. And like, this was like our first like just married apartment, right? Like, our daughter
Yeah.
was born 9 months after we got married. So
Yeah.
do with that information what you will. Um, and so I knew when we were looking for our next apartment and eventually our house, one of the non-negotiables was a closed off space where I could have my office.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I love that because it didn't occur to me for the longest time because I didn't record video content Uh, at least in front of the camera. I was always behind the camera. So it's like, okay, we're just gonna
Hmm.
stage this over here and record some content, go to this different places and do the content creation. And we didn't call it content creation. We were either doing courses or doing a video or a documentary.
Yeah.
Now it's everything is content, right? So it didn't occur to me till I was like, okay, I'm actually recording video, doing video podcasting. And it took me a while. Like the first time around, I was like, I know all the things that you need to do with a camera. I can set up this space back here in my room. But it took me like 3 hours to put everything together. And I didn't have time to then talk to the camera because you got to go feed the kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Right. And like that's, I if I don't think you can see it anymore because I rebranded my YouTube channel. Gosh, I
mhm.
just totally lost my train of thought there. That's one of the other things that I need to do is like set a do not disturb mode when I'm recording, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but my wife can get through anyway though, like if there's an
Yes.
emergency. Anyway, um, the I rebranded my YouTube channel, so I don't think you could see my first video anymore, but you can see my bedroom. You can see
Mm,
my bed, my unmade bed in the background, right? It's like my first post college apartment.
sure.
So like there's like a lot of natural lighting, but like I'm recording it at night, so it's really just the sweet glow of my giant iMac monitor. Um, and it looked bad, right? But in what when was this? 2011, 2012 maybe?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter as much,
Yeah,
right?
didn't matter as much. Yeah.
Because like just like the virtue of making content was crazy to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Again, we didn't call it content creation. We just called it like making a video,
Making video.
uploading a tutorial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, like that's bad. And I'll say like this took time, right? If you go to casabona.org/desk, you can see what's currently on my desk, which now needs
Mm-hmm.
to be updated because this got changed. But you can also see all of the historical pictures. Um, Everything from my first desk in my, you know, our more recent apartment when I started
Yeah.
tracking this back in
Yeah.
2018 up until now. And you see it's a work in progress.
That's so cool. I need to do something like that. I was looking at 20 year ago studio setup, or well, it was more like a computer setup where basically it's this massive
Hmm.
desk with a CRT monitor there, another CRT monitor here. I was like, wow, I've been setting up these spaces
Yeah.
for a while.
Come a long way. And let me tell you, Junaid, that link kills it with affiliates. Just like that page,
Of
it's
course.
laden with and it's clear, right?
Yeah.
This
It's clear.
page contains affiliate links,
Yeah.
but just kills it.
I love it. Although this has been really amazing conversation. Let's take a quick break, and when we get back, you're gonna share with our audience 3 implementable hacks that our listeners kill for. I think. Hey guys, welcome back. We've been talking with Joe Casabona here on the podcast. Joe, as we're talking about technology and the amazing things that you've done to save time and get more work done, what our listeners absolutely love is practical advice that they can use immediately. So, would you mind sharing 3 actionable hacks that solopreneurs can implement right now to streamline their podcasting process?
Yeah, great question. Number one, this is all anecdotal from what I've heard from my clients, right? Number one is have a podcast planning document of some sort, right? So um I offer my Notion template. It's big. It's what I use to book guests and evaluate guest applications. But it could be a Google Sheet, it could be ClickUp, it could be Trello. Just someplace to give you an overview of your episodes. I
Hmm.
think a lot of people based on, I don't have hard data for this, but I think a lot of people rely on their calendar to see like what upcoming interviews they have.
Sure.
Um, and that only tells you the story up to recording, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't have time to edit right after you record, or if you're just releasing it without editing, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Um, then you don't do that. Then you don't have a good handle on if you're falling behind or if you're going to miss an episode. And that's where a lot of the stress comes from, right? I can also see like how much inventory I have for sponsorships, right? So I think that's number one. Number two is most people still think that they need to do interview shows.
Mm,
I would push back on that and say, do more solo episodes, especially if you are a solopreneur who is using your podcast to support your business. The thing that happens with guests is the guest becomes the expert.
mm-hmm.
You want to be positioned as the expert if you're using it to try to grow your business. And so my show, The Streamline Solopreneur, is that used to be all interviews. And this year I've made a concerted effort to try to do 75% interviews, 25 solo episodes. So about 1 in 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little better than that. So it's actually,
Nice.
I've done more solo episodes than expected because I've had people drop out. I've had people
Yeah.
cancel at the last minute. And then what do you do? If you don't have an inventory, right? If you don't have a runway, then you're like, what? I don't have an episode, or I got to find
Yeah.
something really quick, or I'm just going to
Yeah.
miss a week. If you do some solo episodes, then you don't have to worry about that. And so next year, I want it to be 50-50,
Nice.
especially as I've completely changed my positioning. Um, and I think that'll be very good. I'll bring in some outside voices to cover areas outside of my expertise. And then I'll talk about what it's like streamlining my business and how it's affecting me as a dad and stuff like that. So
I love it.
consider solo shows for sure. And then the last thing I would challenge you to do is open up Zapier, zapier.com. It's free to use, like 5 tasks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a little AI bot that actually works shockingly well. And you can type into it something like, when someone fills out my Calendly link, add them to a Google Sheet. And then it'll build the automation for you. And then you
Yeah.
just can, make the connections you need to make. So I would challenge you to spend 30 minutes trying that, because the 30 minutes you spend, if you can get an automation working, that is going to save you hours per week.
Amen. I love that, man. Thank you so much. So number one, have a podcast planning document or a calendar so that you know what's coming up, what you've already recorded, what what kind of downloads are you getting on the different episodes. I'm just adding that additional on top of it because that's gonna give you feedback. Oh my God, people really love this kind of conversation. Let's do more of that, right? So
Hmm.
have that
Look
podcast
at, if
planning
you're doing
document.
that, look at the completion rates in Apple Podcasts, right?
Perfect.
Downloads only tell half the story, but completion
Yes,
rates, they tell a fuller story.
that's right. Number two, do more solo episodes because, and that's something that I've been struggling on. I started this year or even last year. I was like, I'm gonna do a solo episode on Tuesdays, a guest episode on Thursday. Solo guest. And guess what happened? I fell off the track. I was like, oh, I didn't do solo episodes. I maybe recorded 3 or 4, and I just told my producer, just put all the guests, just because she's like, where's the episodes for these days? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
just forget
My
about it.
my
So
advice there would
yeah,
be replace guests with solo episodes,
yeah,
right? Because that's like, I tried doing that too, right? Oh, I'll do like a fun Friday solo episode, but that doubles your work. Our
yes, it
goal
does.
here is to take work off of your plate.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I am lucky to have like 25 in the bank right now. So if I stop for like 3 months recording time, I would still be fine.
Nice.
But I
Yeah.
do need to sit down and record those solo episodes so that I start to build that authority. And I've actually been thinking if I should start a new podcast on helping people set up their home studios. And then Alex was like, no, just insert it part of this podcast because it already has, a good following and it's a fun show. So maybe I can do a combo. Man, and then
Yeah. I usually tell people like if the mission statements are similar, you can put it all in one place.
yeah,
I'm thinking about combining my two podcasts, but I'm
simplifies it, right?
unconvinced I should do that. Yeah.
And then
We'll
last
see.
one, try out Zapier. Use their AI bot to, try a task and you're gonna be amazed at how simple it really is. I mean, people are literally building out full on podcast production with Zapier, and that's so much powerful.
Can I offer a quick bonus tip?
Bonus tip, bum bum.
Bonus tip. I don't know when this episode's coming out. So I won't say when we're recording, but I will say in your business, there's probably a period of downtime where the client work slows down, everyone's out of the office for some sort of vacation or holiday, and you just know like you're gonna have a few slow weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Use those weeks to review your business processes and start to put a couple of systems in place then.
I love that. I love that so much. Um, use the downtime to build figure out system processes, and make your life a little bit easier. All right,
Yeah.
Joe, we
Know the
are
downtime. Know it's
yeah,
coming up.
the downtime. Yeah, we know. I mean, summertime. We got the fall holidays, kids back in
Hmm.
school, everybody's traveling. Like this year or in 2024 had the most busiest travel summer ever that the U.S. have seen. So pretty crazy.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's
Yes,
awesome.
people
And
in other
and
countries that
indicative of my
the
summer.
U.S. were traveling to were hating on them. Like, go back to where you came from. You don't have to pay. It's hilarious. All right, brother. Last segment of the show, the fun six. Number one, what is the one hobby that you wish you had more time to pursue?
I want to say playing the drums,
Hmm.
but it's probably actually do something with my hands. I'm real bad at doing like woodworking or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when I do it, it's so satisfying.
It's the best feeling ever. Like when I was
Yeah.
beekeeping, I had to assemble my own beehives. And getting to work with my hands was a lot of fun, using all the jigs. Wow, that was so fun. So much fun. I don't do that anymore, unfortunately, because, I got to find more time, but it was a lot of fun for sure. All right. Next up, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
People are gonna find this hilarious probably, but I wanted to be a priest. I'm Catholic. I was an altar boy, and I apparently was an exceptional altar boy. I was told.
Nice.
I don't know, did the things. I don't know what made me better than I probably just didn't goof around like a 12-year-old normally does. And so I thought, well, the next logical step from altar boy would be priest. So that was like then I learned about computers and I was like, oh, I
I
want
love
to
your
do
computers.
computer things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it. All right. Next up, what's your favorite movie or TV show that helps you unwind?
Mm. Right now it's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I
Hmm.
do cycle through shows, so it's
Okay.
usually Friends, Scrubs, How I Met Your Mother, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, repeat. Um, though Scrubs has been hitting a little bit. I've had a little bit of health anxiety, and Scrubs has been
Hmm.
hitting a little bit differently because of that. So I've
Like,
moved on
no.
to something that doesn't aggravate that.
A show that I've been loving, and you might love it too. It's on Hulu. It's called Only Murders in the building. Which
You are now the third person
third
to
person?
recommend this show to me,
Okay. Okay.
which means I'm going to watch it now.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
because like usually when someone says, I'll let you make your point. Sorry.
yeah. No, so
Yeah.
question that I want to ask you back is who were these people that recommended you this show, right? So who are they?
There was a person at Cabo Press who did it very recently, right? This is like
Okay.
three recent recommendations.
Yeah.
And then like my wife's cousin,
Okay.
right? Because it's like, oh, Joe, you're a podcaster. You would probably
Yes.
like this.
There we go.
Um,
That's the
yeah.
case.
When someone says, here's a show I think you'll like,
Yeah.
what they mean is here's a show I like, right? But when you get a good recommendation from someone who knows you,
Yeah.
then
Yeah. And that's
that's
why I was like,
or
I
you keep
wanted to
getting the
ask
same
who was
recommendation.
the people because okay, they know who you are and what you do. Makes sense. This person's at Cabo. Why are they there? Well, they're also a podcaster, but they're also in content production. They're also so and
Mm-hmm.
as a podcaster myself, now this show has been going on for like 4 years and I
Yeah.
just picked it up because I was like, I've been wanting to watch it. I love Steve Martin and Martin Short is hilarious and I didn't know Selena Gomez could act too. So, you've got three good people in there and
Yeah. Yeah,
they
where
start
beyond the what was she? Was she in High School Musical? Was that her?
I don't think so.
Oh man.
I don't think so. We'll have to look it up
Well,
now.
we're older than when she peaked as like a kid actor.
Probably. Probably. I mean, I definitely am. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But they start a true crime podcast in the TV show. So it's a lot of the stuff is around podcasting and what's actually happening and why people love true crime podcasts. And so I'm just gonna give you that bit, and then you're like, okay, it's about podcasting. And of course, you mentioned the Blue Yeti microphone, and of course, they're using the Blue Yeti microphone in a closet to record a podcast, right?
Oh, that's so funny because like
Yes,
whoever started this show probably that's like a nod to podcasters,
it is. It
but then
is.
people watching it are like, "Oh, I'll get the Blue Yeti," right?
Like no,
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure Logitech paid a lot of money. Like we gotta put that one in
Yes, that's probably actually what it is.
there.
Vanessa Hudgens is the person I'm thinking of who was in High
Oh,
School
okay,
Musical,
okay,
by the way.
okay. Imagine. I never watched the High School Musical TV show or movie series, but I did enjoy uh, Pitch Perfect and Glee
Mm,
because I like musicals. I
yes.
like singing. I used to be in a band. And in
Yep.
fact,
I
at
thoroughly enjoyed Pitch Perfect and Glee.
there
Yeah.
you go. And at last podcast movement when we were in Denver, we were all sitting outside. And I was like, "Hey, you guys, you want a concert?" And they're like, "Sure." So I played some music on my phone and I sang along. I'm like, "Oh, that was so good." That takes us to
That's
the
amazing.
next.
I don't sing in public. I'm not good at that.
Well,
So I
that's
play the
only
drums.
because you don't sing in public. All right, next up. If you could play a character in any movie, which one would you choose?
If I could play a character in any movie, which one would I choose? Gosh, I don't I don't think I was really mentally prepared for this. Um in any movie. I'm gonna say Luca from Luca,
Oh my
which
God.
maybe which maybe feels a little on the nose as an Italian. Um I just like the idea of being able to like swim really well, right? And then like
No,
get out of the water and not be like a sea creature. And Italy, right?
in Italy. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
That's a cool one. Well, the
Yeah.
next one takes us to something interesting. Well, superheroes. Who is your favorite one?
Growing up, it was Superman.
Hmm.
But then when I hit my, let's see, late teens, early 20s, it became Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's probably Spider-Man.
Interesting.
So it's changed.
So you went from DC to Marvel, and then you didn't look back.
And I didn't look back.
Didn't look
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
My I think the new Joker movie just came out. People didn't
Yeah.
like it at all. Like it got a really bad rating, whereas the first one was really well done. I haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but they've done some, they've got some good storytelling for sure.
Yeah. I try to give comic book movie. I try to give most movies a lot of grace.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, the new Star Wars, like, how is that even possible? I'm like,
It's
it's a
so
movie about a war in space. Like, what do you want from this?
yeah. It's so much work that goes into it, man. Come on, give them a break. It's
Yeah.
it's
Right.
it's crazy. All right, man.
Yeah.
Last question. If you were a board game, what would it be and why?
Oh, Trivial Pursuit. Because I love that game and no one I hang out with really loves that game. Um, and I love trivia games, and I think I know a lot of trivia. So that one was easy. I can't believe I answered that faster than the
I
movie
know,
question.
so fast. In fact, I had another guest that answered the same question, and he said he would also be Trivial Pursuit. I need to do something with this
Nice.
data, okay, Joe? I mean, I'm like collecting
Yeah.
this data from people, and which board game they would be. I think it'd be pretty cool
Yeah.
to
J-
put them
well,
on in a
Junaid
room.
GameCon 2026.
Yes. Well, Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, man. Your insights on podcast systems and time saving strategies are invaluable, especially for our solopreneur listeners.
Thank you
Bef-
very much, man. It was great. This was such a fun conversation, as usual. I always
as
enjoy
usual.
talking to you, Junaid.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Now, before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience, and where can they connect with you?
Yeah. Great question. Um, you want
Apparently, I
me to
have to
start that
change.
over?
Yeah, go ahead.
Great question. So I think the thing that I want to reiterate is that you're not gonna, Rome wasn't built in a day, and so make incremental changes. This is, I think, really important. And as far as where can you find me, I'm gonna have a page set up. We will call it podcastworkflows.com/humble, and it'll be for your listeners only. It'll be a automations database that they can get for free, and there will be
Love
links
it.
to my podcast and socials there as well.
Dude, that's so awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks
My
again, Joe, for the generosity with your time and everything. I know we went a little over, but, and to our listeners, if you're feeling overwhelmed with your podcast or solopreneur journey, remember there's always a smarter, more efficient way to work. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep hacking away at your hobbies and passions. Until next time, we'll catch you later.